Alright guys, so there's this video by Thinking Ape, one of those so-called guys who are supposedly for us and the ones that are like supposedly trying to advocate for us, one of those grifters online. And he made a video about like AI and he thinks that, oh, art being the human soul is cope, which I disagree with, but let's see what he has to say and I'll respond.
Next to the prospect of an apocalyptic Terminator-like event, as well as some of the discussions surrounding job displacement, what have you, one of the biggest controversies and points of discussion in the whole AI debate is the notion of art and music and just basically creative endeavors having a fundamental aspect to it that's human that cannot be replicated by machines or AI.
It cannot be replicated because art and music are basically in response to how we feel. Artists and musicians create their stuff because they want to express how they feel, unless, of course, they're under the influence of Hollywood or the music industry, where they don't have much choice. But for the most part, many people pursue art or music because they want to express themselves. It's not always for clout.
I want to refer to this as the human soul concept or idea or the spirit, however you want to term it, doesn't really matter. But a lot of people have this idea, this notion that fundamentally the human creative process is bound up with what they might call the human soul or a kind of humanity that when you separate that out is no longer present and therefore produces quote unquote AI slop or just poor quality or something is missing or fundamentally lacking. And this is
Well, it is lacking. I've had my experiences looking at AI stuff. I personally had my experiences like trying to like learn a language and just trying to converse with like a tutor online that's AI, and I just have a conversation with this tutor and I tried it and it just felt empty. I mean, I don't know if you even tried AI or whatever, but I've had the experience and it really felt empty.
definitely a very common point of view. And you've seen this actually in recent times because there have been a number of game developers who've talked about the use of AI, sometimes even generative AI. And there are tons and tons of people up in arms on Twitter and the usual hotspots, Blue Sky. And part of it is due to this notion of stealing art assets. I kind of get that. That's a separate discussion. But a lot of it has to do.
Well, AI also has another threat to us men. Okay, AI is a threat because feminists could use it as a way to go against us. I mean, think about Stardusk. What if a feminist used your voice and then made it seem like you said something to validate their concerns about quote unquote incels? How about they generate your voice and then just manipulate it into making it seem like you want to supposedly off women, like the opposite sex, just do bad things to them? What if they did that? That's the threat of AI.
With some kind of almost religious conviction that AI is fundamentally bad because you're cutting out the human spirit and the human hand in the production of art. Now,
Well, another reason why art and music exist because it's for escapism. You like video games, Stardust. Aren't you for escapism? Yet, AI will take away the escapism part because, computers, they can't really replicate what us humans feel.
personally, and this is the topic of this video, I think this is major cope. This is high tier copage for a number of reasons. So let's first go through the arguments they mount and dismantle each one, and I'll explain why it's cope. The biggest argument, of course, the one that's most commonly heard, is that AI is slop. It's low quality, it's not good, it doesn't produce good results, and so people are displeased with it. And this, of course, is an indication that AI cannot replicate what the human spirit or the human hand does. Now, this is, I think, on the face of obvious cope for anyone with two brain cells, because the quality of AI art has been going up, the quality of production has been going up.
But here's the reason why AI has become popular because us men, we are under expectations that we're supposed to be perfect. We're supposed to have these milestones in life. We're supposed to get married at a certain age. We're supposed to make six figures at a certain age. I mean, should it not be like a concern why AI is becoming popular? It should not be like, a, I mean, should it not be a conspiracy? The thing is, like, people have expectations of them, and obviously, like, AI is allowed to roam free because people have these expectations, and they feel that if us guys cannot fulfill our expectations, they're gonna replace us with AI. That's why that's why a lot of men are getting replaced by AI.
And a lot of AI is just producing a lot better stuff, both in the realm of art and specifically in the realm of music.
Well, in my opinion, the AI is not really producing much better stuff. I've seen a lot of AI content, and I could obviously still tell it's AI. I see videos of like animals in action, and I can obviously tell it's AI because I know that animals don't really react that way.
I've been messing around with an online software called Suno. I haven't paid anything. I just kind of dabble in it every now and then. And frankly speaking, some of the tracks it produces, depending on the genre, obviously, are indistinguishable from reasonably high quality music in the appropriate genre. In this specific case, I put in a bunch of tracks for synthwave as well as progressive trance. And apart from some of the lyrics, which were really, really goofy, although to be perfectly honest, a lot of the lyrics are goofy when it comes to trance and different subgenres of trance, it was pretty much one to one. I didn't love every track I heard, but I mean, I don't love every track I listen to from real artists as well, so it doesn't really matter. The point is that the quality I heard was really, really up there, basically identical. And I've listened to other genres as well, produced by other people with more skill in prompting and what have you. And honestly, you cannot distinguish the two. Now, you might mount the argument again that experts can
Well, I can still distinguish the two. I'm no expert.
distinguish the two, and that's probably true. But that bar is going to disappear very quickly, I think, in the next couple of years, maybe 2, 3, 4 years. That will disappear. And in terms of music, at least, you're going to get one-to-one quality overall, barring really goofy lyrics. But of course, you can insert lyrics and fix that, so that's not really a big deal, ultimately. The same is largely true for visual art, although it's not one-to-one, as I'd say, for music these days, but the art is improving. So this notion that the quality suffers from AI merely because it's AI, because the human spirit or soul or hand is not
Well, I have a good like quote from like a art teacher I once had, and he considers like AI art and animation to be microwaved. It's like having it's like microwave dinners, which makes a lot of sense because all you're doing is just relying on machines to create the stuff for you. You're not really doing much of the work yourself. Also, another reason why I'm against AI and I support bad art, then here's a reason why I support like quote unquote bad art over AI art. You want to know why? And it's really fundamental for us men. It's the first thing we as men should do in order to like reclaim our humanity, in order to get our rights back, and to just not give in to these like feminist agendas and all this other stuff. It's that quote unquote bad art just shows that us men are not perfect. Perfection is never going to exist in this world. Also, like, I am a non dimensional Christian, and I believe that no human is perfect because we are a flawed species. There's only one thing in the world that was perfect, that worked in this world, and that was Jesus Christ. That's what I personally believe. But bottom line is, if us men could realize that we're not perfect, then that's a really big step for us. Because the more we realize that we're not perfect, the less we're going to give into the idea that if we're not keeping up in life, or if we're not married by the certain ages, then we're not men. That's the problem with us men because we have too much expectations placed on us. And if you look at the media wants us to be perfect pretty much. Like, just look at how the media just demonizes men who are not quote unquote keeping up in life. I mean, just look at it. Just watch the movies. Just even rewatch some of your so-called childhood movies. You'll see that the misandry is rampant. And but the more you like succumb to this AI stuff, the more you're gonna let the other side win. The more you're gonna like let people dehumanize you. That's why I'm against all this AI stuff.
involved is a bunch of bollocks. It's a bunch of bullshit. It's pure cope. Because again, it's a matter of time, right? This is not a good argument fundamentally.
Well, it's a matter of time before AI replaces all of us, and we have no jobs, and our lives and privacy could be at risk. Are you not concerned about that, Stardusk?
The other argument is that the element of the human soul involves effort and work. And when you see the end product of an artist or a musician, that is the final result of all that effort and work. And effort and work is bound up in the human spirit. It's what makes work valuable. Because part of the definition, I think, of AI slop isn't just that the quality is low, but also because it can be produced in an instant given the right prompts. And that's really, I think, essentially what people mean when they talk about AI slop, in addition, of course, to just it looking like shit and not looking good. The problem here is the same issue with anything else in life. People ultimately care about the results.
And that's the problem with humanity. It's not something we should just give into. It's not something we just accept and blindly accept and let people walk over us and dehumanize us. That's the problem us men face, is because they expect results. We want a society where us men can be treated like human, okay? And you're just gonna let people just walk over you like that? You're just gonna like be a pushover? Well, we have to fight for our rights. If the feminists could just meet to us all they want, we should be able to stand up and gain their rights back. Like obviously, the way you're talking, it just sounds like you're just being to submission. Like you do not, you clearly do not have much of an understanding of why it is. You're just saying that people don't care about results. You're saying that people only care about results. Yeah, like we should just accept that. No, well, no, that's the problem. The more you like give into that idea, then you're also giving to that idea. Then you're also giving to the idea that men are not men if they do not reach milestones in life. It's the same idea. It's really the same idea. Because society does not see us as humans. That's the bottom line. It's not that people care about quality or whatever. It's just they do not see us as humans. They, they want us to be perfect, which we're never gonna be. And the more we like try to become perfect, the more we're gonna be mentally unstable. And that's not healthy for us.
So if you see something that has been produced in, I don't know, weeks or months by a human artist, whether it's a musician or a visual artist or somebody else, and then you are in a state of awe and wonder and admiration because of that, that's great. But if an AI comes along and is able to replicate that in a few seconds, maybe 20, 30 seconds, and the result is the same, broadly speaking, people are not going to care. And that's fundamentally a truth about everything in life. If you look really ripped and you're in great shape, people care about the result. They don't care about the work you put in. And that's always the case. People care about the end result, not how you got there. Now,
Again, people care about the end result because they do not see us men as human. Notice they do not do the same thing for women. They do not do the same thing for women. They admire if women works hard or whatever.
the tale you can tell people, it's very common, is that hard work pays off. And that's all about the journey, of course. And that makes for a good story and it's very convincing. And there's some truth to it. And in that, usually these types of results you can view as in the end results are the consequence of hard work and effort. But that's not always the case. And ultimately, people don't care. They care about what they see, they care about what they can grasp in the moment. And that applies to AI art just as much as it applies to human beings. So the notion of hard work and spirit, that's also just cope.
Well, it's not a cope. It's just people like are virtue signaling. It's the same idea that it's this. It's the same. It's the same type. It's the same idea as say like we accept everybody, but they don't accept men. The thing is like the solution is not to just blindly accept AI art just because it's faster and people could do it quicker. The solution is to reclaim our humanity. That's what it is.
Other thing, I think, this is a pretty serious one, I think, and it's a little bit more difficult and nuanced to tease apart. And that's the notion of suspension of disbelief, right? A lot of people struggle, or so they claim, with this notion of suspension of disbelief, meaning if they see something that's not real, they cannot put it aside and take it seriously. Now, the counter to this is rather obvious. A lot of people watch films all the time. They know it's not real, but they allow, and I think allow might be the wrong word here, but
Well, movies are escapism. Many people know that movies are not real. It's escapism. That's what art's supposed to be.
unless they allow, in some overarching sense, the fakeness, the fiction of the film to overwhelm them, take over their emotions. They allow it to direct them and guide them and make them feel the impact of characters that don't really exist in reality. They're played by actors.
Well, that's the purpose of art and film. It's supposed to like show escapism, but also like the reason why the reason why some films touch us is because it's made by people for the sake of expressing themselves. This is a weird example, but you should really watch this movie. It's called The Room, and Tommy Wiseau made this movie because in my opinion, the reason why he made this movie because he wanted to like warn men about the dangers of the opposite sex, like female nature. I cannot name a single movie where the director had no motivation to make it. There's like no like inspiration or nothing he could do. Now with like music and stuff like yeah, there's some cases where the singer just made it just for clout or just for the sake of like appeasing to their music industry overlords. But like, but for the most part, like art, music, movies, they're basically made by people who want to express themselves, and they want to do it because they want another way, to just communicate with people. Because not all of us are like MLK or Neil Patrick Harris or Ryan Seacrest or Walter Cronkite, who could communicate just with their mouth itself. Some people need more than that, and what the that's what like art comes into play. So yeah, that's why some people get attached to like fictional characters or movies, because at the end of the day, these media were made by people who want to express themselves. So yes, there is a human aspect to that, whether you like it or not.
Everything is basically fake, essentially. And nonetheless, they're taken in by it. Now, of course, at the same time, they're aware that it's not real, but the impact is real, right? And I think the same holds true for anything in any medium. That's absolutely true of AI art and AI music. If you really think the music is indistinguishable from human tracks, then you're going to appreciate just the same. Some of
Well, I could still distinguish the two. I've heard AI music. I've seen I've seen AI art, and obviously the thing is like if people know it's AI and they know it's music, like just even the hint of like suspicion that might be AI or music, then just kills the whole vibe. That's something like I don't know if you could grasp it or not, but I could definitely grasp it.
tracks I've made for going to the gym, like trance tracks and workout tracks, are pretty much the same quality as you would find made by human beings, and they serve the purpose in that particular context. Now,
Well, at the end of the day, it's only your opinion. I mean, personally, I do not see AI as the same thing. It depends on like what you think is good or not.
it might not be universally applicable, but if I'm going to the gym, I'm trying to get done with a hard workout and I need music, it serves a purpose. And I think that's generally true for a lot of different genres and all the arts for that matter. And more importantly, I think if you look at the landscape and you look at these people who are quote unquote falling in love with ChatGPT and other LLMs, I think it's not that much of a stretch to think that even if you cannot suspend disbelief, something automatically occurs given a certain threshold. Now,
Well, here's another reason, like why some people supposedly like get attached to ChatGPT. The thing is, like, society does not provide men what they want, and the thing is, it's all by design. Society just wants us to end up like accepting this AI stuff, and the thing is, like, the reason why men are in this position right now because society is misandrist, and a lot of men are deselected, you possibly included, and and the solution is not to just like accept AI and all that stuff because that has limits, in my opinion. The solution is for men's civil rights movement, and we need to reclaim our humanity. Rejecting AI is the first step to reclaim our humanity, because the fundamental issue is society does not see us men as humans. I don't know if you see that or not, but that's how I see it.
threshold for some people might be higher up or lower down, depends on the person. But I think there's a point that will come where everyone will basically not be able to distinguish X from Y, meaning suspension of disbelief will kick in, and you will take the quote unquote fake nature of the AI.
Well, when the time comes when people cannot distinguish between like AI and non-AI, to me that is a worry for us men, because I mentioned earlier, and I'll mention this yet again, it'll be a huge disadvantage for us men, because especially for people like you, Stardust, and also people like me, who are deselected by society, like deselected by the job market, just or like if you're a man and you're like at the risk of being falsely accused. The thing is, like, if AI gets in full fruition, then our lives could be really at risk. Our humanity could be at risk. And because feminists are empowered, they can use AI to their advantage. They can use AI in order to like turn things against us even more, just to like kick us while we're down. As I mentioned before, there'll be an example such as like say because because for example, I've seen this YouTube channel called like Dangerous AI, and it made like famous athletes just say things controversial, like say things like, "Oh wow," it's like they made them say things like outrageous that like if it was like actually real, then it'll be on the news headlines. But like luckily, the channel has made clear it's AI, and it's just only for entertainment purposes. But like this is what AI could possibly do to us men. Some feminists could just like extract our voice and just manipulate and just making us seem that we're saying something wrong and just to like validate their claims against us. Let's say they let's say they think we're like we want to be violent and we say something like that that just shows that supposedly shows that we're violent. I mean, that's what AI could really do to us, man. I don't get why you're not concerned over this, Stardusk.
Seriously. Now, there is another tie into this. I think it's a pretty interesting one because historically in the manosphere, a lot of people have talked about things like sex robots and AI girlfriends and what have you. And a lot of people had registered their opinion and said, look, I would not be able to just suspend my disbelief. It's not real. And therefore, I couldn't take it seriously. But I actually think that's a lot less of a choice than people pretend it is. Because at some point in time, if something's sufficiently good, you won't be able to tell the difference. Emotionally, it's a level of your psychology, your neurology, something else will take over. And it won't really matter if you, quote unquote, know it's not real. All the feelings, everything will be real, and you will act accordingly. So, as far as the human spirit is concerned, I think
So here's the thing with like AI and girlfriends and all this other stuff. The thing is, like men, like they just most men, like unfortunately, they spend most of their life just trying to like seek female validation as if it's like the end all be all. Like the reason why I should be happy, the reason why I should be sad is if I have that validation or not. And that's why men are getting into AI girlfriends because like they're seeking female validation, and obviously, and to me, I'm not really supportive of that because. But the bottom line is, female validation should not be the thing we should be seeking the most in life, in my opinion.
that's just major bullshit and major cope. That is something that's born of a legacy of how we have operated as a civilization. Of course, human effort, work, and beautiful art and beautiful music, all these things are consequences of traditions that go back thousands of years, sure. But what's to say that those traditions cannot be wiped out in the blink of an eye with a technology that can do everything that humans can do and potentially even better down the line? And I think that's where we're heading, for better or worse. It is what it is, as people like to say, as everyone likes to say these days, right? That's the ultimate.
And if AI takes away your job, and maybe if AI takes away your status as a YouTuber, then what are you gonna do now? You realize that the threat of AI is more than just like a question of whether or not it's objectively good or not, or if it's the human soul or not. It's like more than that.
Line of resignation, but it's true. I think there will come a time when none of these co-ops about the human soul, the human spirit, and art will matter because people will just accept it. And you can already see it. You can even see it with AI slop, poor quality on YouTube, with people just gobbling it up and not thinking anything of it and just accepting it for what it is. And perhaps
So you just gotta be pushed over and let people say that you're not human because you're not able to fulfill those impossible demands that society does to you, and just let AI take over because because people think AI would just do it better for you, even though like AI taking over will mean even though AI taking over will mean like you're not gonna be able to like support yourself or things are gonna be used against you.
they can't even distinguish it half the time if they're sufficiently stupid or just not perspicacious enough. My point is that there are many myths that we have woven around our civilization and culture that have done a lot of work, and they had been, up until now, pretty accurate. But things are changing very rapidly. And you only have to think about the state of affairs just 10 years ago. 10 years ago, this stuff didn't exist, and now it does. And everything has changed as a result. And I think
And who's gonna benefit for these changes? Not you, not me. Well, the only people that are gonna benefit these changes are the 1%, and they're female leeches. Women will also benefit because, of course, they're not the ones who have to worry about getting status. They're not the ones who have to worry about getting jobs. They're not the ones who have to worry about connections and stuff because they love each other. It might not look like a big deal right now, but it will become a big deal in the future. You'll see the results of it. You'll see what it's going to do to us. It's not going to be pretty.
going forward, people will really be surprised. Even if they were very against this stuff, maybe they will remain against the stuff. But as always, things will go to the majority. And just as with cars, just as with everything, If you do not participate, if you reject it, you will be left behind ultimately. And that's a
So you're just supporting the idea that oh, men should keep them in life. There you go. You're just being up. You're just dehumanized, and obviously you're just letting society walk over you. Because the thing is, like, we're not gonna be able to get jobs with AI. You see all these workers getting laid off in favor of AI, and they cannot get back in the job market because if you get laid off, then obviously it's gonna be against you in the resume. You're not Us men are not allowed to make mistakes in life. We're not allowed to like have setbacks as much as women do.
especially true in art and music. Because again, effort does not matter. Human spirit is cope. There's nothing essential about the production of arts or music or even writing.
Well, there is something essential about this stuff, whether you like it or not. It's a way for us men to communicate. It's for us men to escape from life. Okay? That's the purpose of art, music, and film and all this other like stuff you're talking about is that's the purpose. That's why it exists. It's not useless at all.
That is uniquely human. It's a question of quality.
Also, I find it interesting that you're into video games. Like, yeah, you say like art, music, and all this other stuff is not beneficial. It's not important. Like, why are you into video games if you think it's not beneficial? I mean, video games is a form of art, whether you like it or not. It's created by it's created by humans who want to express themselves and just communicate with you. That's what it's all about. I mean, like, here's another game I recommend you play. I recommend you play the game called Night in the Woods. I could obviously tell it's made by a human being. Unfortunately, the person who created it offed himself. Really sad what happened to him, but you could really see that you could really see the human spirit in that game. You really see like how like you could really see like the characters grieving about how like things are changing and how they're like having trouble keeping up and they find like a comfort with each other like with it. I mean, I don't even think AI could produce something like that game, but that's my opinion.
It's a question of upgrades in this case. And the upgrades are going to come, whether it's in 2 years, 5, 10, they will be here. And at that point, humans in terms of art will not be obsolete, but the AI will be just as good, if not better. And a lot of people, maybe even the majority, just won't give a fuck. But as always, thank you for
I used to support your content, but now like obviously you just turn out to be just someone who's just trying to seek validation from the society. And obviously you're not seeing the clear picture of it. AI it's not just about like whether or not AI is like the human spirit or not. I mean, well, it is the human spirit in my opinion. I mean, whether you like it or not, but it's just more to that because like AI is a really like big threat for us men because like I said, AI could just be used against us. And because you have to consider the power structure around the world. Like just look at the power structure. Like feminists control the world, and whoever has their hands on AI will be able to use it to their advantage. Most likely, it's got to be the feminists using AI and the high status men. That's the people who are going to use their advantage against. Because you see what the high status men and the feminists did to the film industry. They just made films that degrade us men. Imagine what they could do with AI. Because whoever controls AI is going to have control over the world if AI becomes as you predicted. Because the thing is, like, AI is going to need someone to operate it. There's going to have to be someone who, like, operates it or builds the AI. I mean, AI didn't just come. AI didn't just come from nowhere. I mean, someone had to build it. There was an inventor. There's obviously going to be someone who's going to control this stuff. If the elites or feminists take a hand in AI, then obviously they're going to use it against us. They're going to use it to demonize and suppress us even more. It's more than just like whether or not AI is good or AI is like art or not. It's way more than that. Whether you like it or not, I believe that so-called bad art is better than AI art because it just shows our humanity. It shows that we're not perfect beings. And also, like, art is subjective. Like, some people consider some art bad. Well, the same art could be considered good to some people. It's subjective. I mean, if you're gonna be hard on us, like, just like, try to, like, make us be perfect or, like, expect all artists to just be like Picasso as soon as they pick up a pencil, then obviously you lost your humanity at this point. I do not have any respect for people who be like that anymore. I'm tired of being a man who is expected to perform all the time. I want a world where us men are treated like human beings and we're not expected to be Superman or like this like perfect being. Like we can't just like let AI take over because the thing is like it might not seem like a big idea. Like it sounds like a utopia, like some perfect entity called AI just doing everything we can, like doing just like outperforming humans at everything. But at some point, it's gotta be like too much. I mean, so if you do not see the threat of AI, then obviously you're just blind and obviously you're just naive. I mean, I've pretty much lost a lot of respect for you, Stardusk. I thought you were supportive of men, but turns out you're just you're just too much pandering for the opposite gender. You're just not really fighting for your humanity. You're just letting society like put these unrealistic expectations on us men. Anyways, thanks for watching.